Welcome to Lana Grossa. We've been the lucky people to distribute Lana Grossa for about the last 3 years. It's an absolutely amazing company. It's one of the biggest companies based in Germany, and I've had the privilege of going there twice a year. I walk in, and all I do is drool. And then I run up and down the aisle seeing all the different yarns that I want, all the things I want to buy, and I go crazy. You wouldn't think that I would be addicted to yarn, owning a yarn company for 31 years. But indeed, Lana Grossa does it, and they do it better than any other company that distributes into the United States. For me, the best part about the company are the people that work there. It is a family company like Trendsetter is. It's owned by Herr Gross, and the real funny thing about it is their last name is Gross, and in German, Grossa means big. Well, he's a very thin man and very, very tall, and I work with him, and my last name is a German last name. It's Klein, and in German, Klein means thin. And I'm big. So we always laugh about it. We greet each other and we keep thinking, we need to change names, but I know he doesn't want to change companies with me. His company's huge. So maybe that's why it's called Grossa. In the meantime, let's get down to what they're doing for fall/winter. As always, what Lana Grossa does best: beautiful yarns and amazing pattern support. What they do every season is what they call a lookbook. This is the cover of the new lookbook that's coming up for the season, and I'll give you little snippets of what's inside the lookbook as I show you the yarns. I don't have the full book yet, just little bits and pieces. The other thing that's going to come along the way is they're going to do a Gomitolo book and something that I've collected for as long as I've been buying yarns, and that is the Faladi Journal. It is one of the most precious books that Lana Grossa does. It's beautiful. It's called a journal because there's about 125 pages. They do patterns for wearables, they do things for home, they do absolutely beautiful designs, and they're coffee table books. So if you come to my house, which I'd like to invite you all, but I've got a small house, you'd see every single one of these laid out throughout my house because all I do every night when I'm not knitting is stare and think about what I want to do next. So what we're starting with from Lana Grossa this season are their new yarns. The first new yarn that they're doing is a yarn called Fusion. And what's beautiful about Fusion, besides the incredible color range, is the texture of the yarn. The way that it's worked is it has a center core. The extra fibers that are in it are cotton, merino, and a beautiful baby alpaca. And each of the fibers are injected into the center core. They're all wrapped around it. And by doing that, the construction stays really, really soft. The yarn has a thickness to it, but a 50-gram ball has 155 yards. So it stays light, it goes on forever. Do single colors and stripes, and there'll be really good pattern support for this. After Fusion, they continue with a yarn called Gomitolo Mezzo. And Gomitolo Mezzo is this one right here. In the past, they've done lots of versions of Gomitolo. The word Gomitolo is Italian for ball. Mezzo means middle, so it's a middle-sized ball. This is Gomitolo Mezzo. It's a middle-sized ball, it's a cake-style ball, and even the thickness of the yarn plays right into the middle range. It is a worsted weight, it's a blend of wool and acrylic, and with most other yarns, they union dye them or intimately blend them. In this case, they keep them as separate yarns, so wool is half, acrylic is half. They dye them separately and spin them around each other. So what you get when you knit it is a whole play of color along with the texture. Really nice needle size. A 50-gram ball has close to 100 yards. The best part about it is all the translation of colors. It's not simple in any way. In fact, you'll probably spend a lot of time trying to pick which is your favorite. And in the end, you'll do what I did. I bought every one of them. Also part of the Gomitolo series is a yarn called Gomitolo Molto. In the past, they've had Gomitolo 200 and Gomitolo Degradé. New to the series is Molto, and what Molto means is more. What we love about it is that it is more. The design of it is that it doesn't have just an elongated dye, but has colors that are injected right inside. So when you see the variegations and you see the color changes, it starts out as a broad stripe, it goes to narrow, and it goes back to broad. And I fell in love with it, so when I saw them a couple of weeks ago, I stole a sample ball because I absolutely had to knit it. And here's what I did so far. Silk Hair Luso. In this case, we mixed it with the new Merino Gomitolo Molto, and we've alternated it in stripes. There's no sequence. When the color changes on one, we break it up with the Molto. Molto turns into Lusso, turns into Molto, turns into Lusso. They alternate back and forth, one to the other, and both fronts are different, and the back also. Completely different. Next in the collection is Lala Chunky. And what we love about Lala Chunky is it's from a designer in Germany called Lala Berlin. She's very, very famous over there, and we're starting to find out more about her. Lana Grossa does a book for the Lala Berlin collection, and we've selected a few of the Lala pieces. We picked the first one called Lala Chunky, and it's called Chunky because the yarn itself has a thickness to it. It's a base wool fiber. It's wool, silk, and polyamide. And the polyamide is strictly used as the binder around the yarn. We did the solid collection because Lana Grossa does amazing tweeds, and it was time to add some solids into the collection. And with this yarn, because it's chunky, you can see the chunky texture, but it doesn't knit up chunky. It doesn't weigh chunky. What I loved about it is the texture that comes out of it. There's lots of great designs in the new lookbook in Lala Chunky. So it's just the beginning of what you're going to see from the lookbook. Next in the collection is Mary's Tweed. And so far, I've been showing this collection for a couple of weeks now. And everyone asked the same question. Why is this called Mary's Tweed? In fact, it's the question I asked when I saw the collection. And what they told me is it's a female version of Harris Tweed. Very, very popular in Europe. And very, very organized. People know what a Harris tweed is. It's a classic tweed. In this case, they've called it Mary's Tweed because they've designed it for women. It is a blend of baby alpaca, merino, polyamide, and silk. And each of the fibers are twisted around each other. What they've done to make it really beautiful is they've added a beautiful touch of a color fleck that comes inside of it. So it creates that classic tweed with a touch of fun. And in fact, here's a couple of the colors. You can see each of the fibers, you can see the twist of each strand, and you can see the way that they're wrapped around each other. So classic becomes interesting, becomes fashionable, and becomes fun, only the way that Lana Grossa knows how to do it. Next up in the new collection for Lana Grossa is Chioma. And this is a yarn that I went crazy for. We walked around their booth. I walked around to see absolutely everything. I touched it all. And the one that I went back to was Chioma. Chioma means eyelash in Italian. And what it does have is a little baby lash because it's got a multicolored chain that runs along the outside. And inside is a little touch of a black base. And that base is injected inside to keep it light, and it looks like little lashes that flash through the outside. You can see the subtle color changes that run through the yarn. It keeps it very light, keeps it beautiful, and really, really fun. What I loved most about it is the color changes. They are very, very subtle, and the yarn is simple. So, may not be able to see all the color changes here, but you will be able to see it as you knit it. It's very simple to knit. It has 150 yards to a 50-gram ball. And the very last one in the new yarn collection, distributed by Trendsetter for Lana Grossa, is 75 Recycled Cashmere. And we've seen lots of recycled yarns out there. What I loved about this one was the story behind it. When they make things that are out of cashmere, meaning finished garments, they don't want to take the extra pieces that are cut off and throw them away. So they recycle them. What they do when they make sweaters for production is they make a long fabric. They take the fabric and they layer it back and forth. They put a template on top and they use a jigsaw to cut around it. Those extra pieces are then taken and recycled. They take it and they shred the yarn. But at 100%, it would be too expensive. So they've recycled it with beautiful merino wool and created 75 recycled. It's a 25-gram ball. It's a perfect weight. It's worsted. And a gorgeous classic color range. It's perfect for men. It's perfect for everybody. And it completes the collection for Lana Grossa Fall-Winter 2019. Well, we finished all the new yarns from Lana Grossa. But Lana Grossa does the same thing that Trendsetter does. The yarns that are successful, the yarns that they love, and the yarns that they want to see move into the future, they do lots of new colors. So we're going to explore those now. Many of them you've knit with, and some of them you just need to. The first one that we're going to look at is a yarn called Automotive Cashmere Fine. And what's beautiful about it is the huge color selection. It is a chained yarn, so it's done on a horse chain machine. It's absolutely round, it has little hooks on top, and one by one the hooks pop up and it comes out of the center. It's almost like a lanyard yarn. The beauty of it is that it's a blend of 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and a little bit of polyamide, and that's there just for some strength. The yarn is absolutely beautiful, and right now it comes in solid colors, and they're still doing some print colors. They have told us that the print colors are going to be going away so that they can make more room for more solids. So if you love print, and I'll show you some things that we've knit out of it, now's your opportunity to grab it while they still have inventory, and so do we. We've had lots of fun blending things from Lana Grossa and Trendsetter this season. In this case, we went all out. New Year's Eve is not that far away. Neither are birthdays, anniversaries, or any other kind of celebration. So we've used Automotive Cashmere Fine, that's the chained yarn. It's very, very soft merino, and we've blended it with a yarn called Luna from Trendsetter. One strand of each is run together through the entire piece. But the most beautiful part are the Swarovski crystals, and I can't ever say that word, Swarovski crystal zippers that are set in the bottom. So they're zipped up, depending on what you want, the kind of pants that you're wearing, the kind of bottom or skirt, they unzip and they open up. And so that's the effect. They completely split and they open up, each one of them having a crystal on the side of each zipper. Moving on, we're going to head into Bingo Funky Print. And I love that they called it Bingo Funky Print. I still can't figure out why they called it bingo, because I don't think in Germany they know what bingo is. The word funky, well, it is funky. And here's why it is funky. It is a 12-ply merino yarn. It's a superwash, 100% superwash, and there's 12 different plies. And within those plies, there's either one or two colors that change all the time. So as you knit it, you get a really beautiful tweed. It is superwash, so it's good for babies. It's good for everybody. And I love the way that the colors change. So what they've done this season is add a whole lot of new exciting color changes. We continue on with one of our most successful yarns from Lana Grossa, and it's a yarn called Eco Puno. Why is it successful? It's very, very simple. They finally did a yarn that's good all year round. It's 75% cotton, 15% wool, and 10% baby alpaca. The cotton is the inside base, and then they brush the other two fibers and inject it and twist it inside of it. So it keeps it super, super soft. It has amazing yardage. There's about 250 yards to a 50-gram ball. It's very soft, easy to knit, and the best part about it is just look at this color range. There's something for everybody in here. In fact, there's multiple colors for everybody in here. And again, we talked about the fiber content. It is perfect for all year round. Living in Southern California, we get lots and lots of heat. And here's why I love it. I love the design. What we've done here is we've started with a piece that starts at the bottom. We've done subtle striping and gone to a solid top. After that, once the center part is done, you pick up the stitches along the side edge, pick up along here, and you knit it out. When you sew it together, depending on where your hands go into your pockets and where you're comfortable, you sew it together only up to that point. It's the perfect pullover. One of the yarns that they did last season that I fell madly in love with is the yarn called Gomitolo Verzion. And here's the Verzion. What is great about it is that it is a big ball of yarn. The color changes are not tied together. It is one continuous fiber, and it's a blend of wool and acrylic. The two different fibers are spun together, twisted around each other, so that they take on the same tones when they're dyed. The beauty of it really is that it's an elongated dye. So it's not short snippets of colors, but a very long, fashionable color change. And I'll show you a couple things that we've done out of it as we continue. And now we have some new pieces that we've done in Gomitolo Verzion. What makes this version of Gomitolo Verzione different from the other Gomitolos is the way that it's dyed. As you can see here, the color changes shade one into the other. There's no break in color. The color changes are very, very subtle and very, very slow as they filter in. Not only do you see it in the piece, but you see it in the knit fringe that comes off the side, and it continues to change. One ball of yarn. Now we have Peru tweed. Peru is known for baby alpacas. If you've had the chance to go to Peru, everywhere you go, alpacas, alpacas, and more alpacas. And there's nothing more beautiful than Peruvian alpaca. In this case, what they've done with it is they've brushed it. It's been mixed with viscose, polyamide, and merino. It keeps it super soft. It's really, really luscious. So it's a brushed fiber. It almost looks like mohair. And what we've seen coming into the country for this season is everything has a brushed effect. It looks like mohair, but it's not.
Go for it.
From Peru tweed, we've not gone to Peru, but we're going to try and take you there. What we've done is something super, super wide. We've played with stitch patterns, alternating rib and plain stockinette. And again, it's one of those pieces that's almost elbow to elbow. We keep things really wide. We play with stitch patterns, no armhole shaping. There's shoulder shaping, so it fits really well on the body. And then there's a beautiful, beautiful, big cowl. And it sits right down on the top of the sweater. So you keep it simple. The yarn is brushed. It feels really good. This is a no-brainer, something that can be done a week or two. Not a whole lot of knitting, but a whole lot of fun to wear. The next three yarns are what we call sister yarns. So we start out with silk hair. It's a blend of 70% kid silk and 30% silk. So there's a mohair. It has silk brushed through it. In this case, it's what we call melange. It's solids. We've also done one called luso. It has a touch of a metallic. And the last segment that we had showed it mixed with one of our tweeds, alternating multicolors and solids. And then one of my favorites, silk hair print. When you look at the 10 skeins that you get, or all the skeins that you get, you never really know what you're going to have until you take it and you turn the yarn inside out. So I always take the label off and I pop it inside out because there's a whole new range of colors that show on the inside. It's an elongated dye. The colors blend and shade one right into the other, and it's a yarn that you're going to fall madly in love with. So no matter which method you take, solid, metallic, or multicolored, you will be in love with the collection of silk hair variations from Lana Grossa. In this case, you can see exactly what happens. The color changes. It's a very slow color change, but it doesn't just stop. It blends and stops and starts as the colors filter one into the other. In this case, we've done a wrap, a really beautiful stitch pattern that balloons and comes in and out, allowing the color changes to become part of the design. And then the very last one for the Lana Grossa line is a yarn called tutti. In Italian, the word means tutti, means everybody, everyone come together. And in this case, it's all different fibers that came together. It's polyamide, kid mohair, alpaca, and wool. And the beauty of it is that each fiber is dyed separately. Within the dye, it has an elongated dye stamp. So when you look at the outside, you look at the inside, you're going to get every color humanly possible. Lots of new colors have been added to the collection, and it makes Lana Grossa even bigger, better, and stronger than it was in the past. So enjoy everything that Lana Grossa has to offer. Make sure you keep looking for all the new pattern books and fall in love with Lana Grossa as much as we have.